I get it. We all want a $1 million crypto portfolio. I mean, who the hell wouldn't? But the steps to actually get there is a lot harder than it looks. There's lots of secrets involved. And so I thought long and hard about what are the most important things people need to understand, at least right now in their current positions, to capitalize on the next bull market, therefore giving themselves a $1 million crypto portfolio. Now, I want to say right off the rip, this is no easy task. You'll have to follow these things to a T, and you'll have to be committed, right? Because a lot of this stuff isn't something that you can learn overnight or implement overnight. You have to learn it and then apply it. There is secrets, but those secrets often aren't uncovered or done because they just seem too hard or just sometimes even too obvious. Let's now jump into the screen here and have a look at what I'm talking about exactly. And again, guys, I'm going to break this down comprehensively for you today, but the most important thing that you won't find anywhere else is I'm going to give you this sheet completely for free for a limited time, 1 month only. You can go in, access this, view this. My only sort of ambition here is to make sure that you are the most prepared, because honestly, guys, the fact that you can become a millionaire just gets me really excited. And honestly, it's just kind of like I'm talking to my younger self in a way. I want you all to succeed. There's no harm, no foul in you succeeding and I can't succeed, or vice versa. So why can't we all win, right? Why can't we all win? And ultimately, for those people out there thinking that I'm trying to convince you of something or do something, I'm not asking you to pay for a package here. All I'm saying is for you to follow these steps and understand what I'm trying to say here, and ultimately, it should hopefully give you the most amount of success possible, getting you to this $1 million level, right? So here's the kicker, right? If you actually do these things, you will make it. It's as simple as that. But let me actually tell you the secrets first, and some of you might be a little bit disincentivized because it might require some work, right? So there are no incentives for me to tell you this. It's only to help you create a portfolio that is worth $1 million, giving you the drive and ambition to get moving as well. Because let's face it, we're all on borrowed time right now, okay? None of this stuff is gonna last forever. Crypto is gonna get to a point where it's reached maturity, and ultimately at that point, none of us are gonna be able to make much more money. It's something like the stock market. We'll have to do even more research, okay? So let's take damn advantage while we can. Secret number one, okay? Now this is one that I've put in green because it's like the easiest to do right now. And the thing is, it's gonna sound quite obvious. Accumulation. The secret is pretty much hidden in plain sight, right? It's essentially a wake-up call. So in order to make money, it's as very simple as this. In order to make money, you gotta trade the luxuries you currently have, especially if you come from an average, lower to middle class family. Nothing in life was given to us for free, or anyone for free for that matter, unless you had a trust fund, right? So we have to work for it. In order to work for things, sometimes we have to put in a little bit of effort, a little bit of time, and work a little bit harder. If you're not someone who can put in the work or sacrifice things, you're just not going to make it. You're just not built out. You're not cut to be that top 10, 5, 1%. You just aren't. Now, I do have a friend who thinks making money is easy and keeps saying how becoming a millionaire is easy, right? Never puts in the work. Now, if this is someone like you, if you're telling people you want to become a millionaire, now this person, keep in mind, I'm not trying to call him out directly. He knows of this stuff already. I've told him this in person. He said he wants $10,000 a month and that it's so easy to make, but he never puts anything in the plan. And it's a lot harder to make that sort of money if you don't obviously have a plan, you're not willing to actually execute and put in the work and the time, right? Ultimately, if you dream too much, you think it becomes reality. And where I'm kind of going this is, we've got to stop kind of thinking in the future and start acting in the now, right? Now, ultimately, your current position is a reflection of your last 1,000 days. So you got to stop being lazy, stop giving into bad habits, and stop feeling sorry for yourself. So this all comes, and where I'm kind of going with this is, in order for you to make money in crypto, you have to start to accumulate money. And to accumulate money, you have to start cutting out all the bad things, the bad habits. You got to stop being lazy, and you got to start picking up more hours at your job or at multiple jobs, or, start doing things like getting into your hobbies a little bit more and start monetizing those things. I know it sounds so damn obvious, but if you think about it, like the three things going to break down to you now, it's going to make a lot of sense, right? And the number one thing is make sacrifices, right? It's all about putting things into perspective. So the way I like to tell people is, if you can imagine every dollar you spend as $100 in the next 2 to 7 years, right? In the next bull market or two. So would you spend as much money? To put it in perspective, right? That $10 McDonald's meal might actually be worth $1,000, or a $5 coffee is worth $500, or even crazily, right? $250 new pair of shoes might actually be worth $25,000. So you need to ask yourself, do I really need these things? Is there a cheaper alternative? I ask myself this all the time. Instead of going out and buying a $5 to $10 coffee, and yes, it is that expensive over here, buy a bulk, a bulk set of coffee, freeze-dried coffee from your local grocery store. You might spend $30, but that'll last you at least a couple months. So you're getting more value out of these things. You don't need the luxuries that you can have when you actually have the money, right? New shoes. I don't have any new clothes. I haven't bought a new pair of clothes for God knows years now, right? I just wear old shoes. It doesn't really actually matter. And you will be thankful for that change of mindset and that change of pace when you actually do have the ability to make money, right? And the fact of the matter is, this is something people don't actually think about, and why a lot of people that actually make money from quick means, right, lottery and things like that, go broke. Because if you can't live like a so-called brokey, as people like to throw around now, you won't be able to handle fortune, right? You'll just blow the money on stupid shit, right? Because you'll always want to live above your means. And when you live above your means, you just simply want to buy more expensive stuff. So start living in your means now, if not below your means. That's how you save and make money, right? Number 2 is be proactive, right? Extra money won't just fall in your lap. So you have to go out there and actually work for it, right? So that's like an extra job or monetize a hobby, or if you have extra time, just do something about it. Don't sit on Netflix. Don't sit on the couch. Do something. Learn a skill that eventually you can monetize. It's as simple as that, guys. It's not hard. 10, 20 minutes a day, an hour a day, whatever you can afford to do. Obviously, we're in a pretty, a time zone right now where ultimately we have a couple of years for the bull market. So if you are someone that wants to learn something fast to get money before then, you might want to put a couple hours a day in. But if you're someone looking for the long term, 20, 30 bull run, you can put 20 minutes a day in. You can afford to do that, right? So why do you think most of the world's first world population isn't living the life they want? Yes, obviously there can be many horrible true factors that go into that, but there are also a lot of people that just can't be bothered to work harder. It's as simple as that. And it's hard for me to feel sorry for those people because, I work 16-hour days and I don't have any amazing skills. I've had to learn everything myself, and it's really, really fun when you get to build it from nothing, right? So what I'm trying to say is, don't be one of them people. Start now. You're going to hate it at first because you're going to be really bad, but you will get better and better, right? Your time right now is less valuable, and therefore you should be training it to work more, right? Different if you're someone who's wealthy, your time is more valuable than money, but right now money is more valuable than time. So trade it accordingly. A subscriber actually pointed out to me, this was something that was really good to see, that he's actually working 2 jobs and working every single day of the week, which is unbelievable, right? That's what you really should be doing, because you might only have to work for the next 2 years and that's it, right? So if you're in your 20s to 50s, work more, turn that hobby into a secondary stream of income. And if you're in your 60s, which I know a lot of my audience is, and first of all, hats off to you if you are, well and truly above your 60s, because first of all, being in crypto at that age is quite impressive. You can obviously spot something when you see it, right? So stop doing stuff like free woodwork and mechanical things, right? Make extra money from that sort of stuff. Stop doing it, right? My partner's grandfather, right? He buys like cheap vehicles and things like that for $5,000, $10,000, does them up over a month period. And then after that, he sells them for like $10,000, $20,000 in profit, right? It takes him some time to work on those sort of things. But as he does it, as he's, in his retirement, he can afford to do that. And it's fun for him. It's a hobby and he's making money out of it. Like, why can't you do something like that? And if not, learn a skill like that, right? And number 3 is no time to feel sorry for yourself, okay? There is not enough time for us to feel sorry for ourselves. I'm sorry. But if you're someone who always does that, like my friend, the same friend who I was talking to you about moments ago about the wants to become a millionaire, he's also right now in a rut where he feels sorry for himself, right? Because things aren't going the way he wants. He's not at that $1 million level. He hasn't been gifted $1 million, and he feels sorry for himself. He feels like the world owes him something, and that is something you cannot afford to do, crypto or not. That's a very detrimental mindset. And if you are someone like that, again, there's mental health things, and I respect that, but you really need to try to get yourself out of that habit, right? If this is you, then you need to realize that you've only got one go at life and possibly 1 or 2 more goes at a true crypto wealth because of these bull markets, right? So work hard, think hard, and be proactive. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. You can do that later on when you have the money, right? Otherwise, again, guys, you got one life to live. You don't want to be in your 60s and 70s and regret it. That's my biggest fear in life. It's not death. My biggest fear in life is being in my 70s and thinking to myself, I could have done that differently. That to me is horrifying. Okay, so if you guys want to chat, let me know. My time is very valuable, but I'm definitely open to talking to some of you guys that are really struggling, okay? Moral of the story, becoming a millionaire in crypto stems from having enough money to make an impact to begin with. Remember, you aren't chasing tens of thousands, but every single bit counts. And I'm going to show you why every bit counts right now, why you don't need thousands of dollars. Because number 2 is called compounding, right? Compounding is king. Most people don't realize how profitable this actually is because no one does the math. And I'll be honest with you, I only found this out like a week ago myself. So it's mind-blowing. I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about. And this is why I'm saying, if you compound, right, if you do what I'm about to tell you, you don't need tens of thousands of dollars to make a big impact. Matter of fact, in this example with HBAR, $1,000 can turn you into a millionaire, a multi-millionaire almost, in 7 years. Let me show you. I know, it sounds quite amazing, right? Now, this is especially important if you are someone who doesn't have much starting capital, so you need to listen up, right? So this example, again, I've got a whole video on this, so I don't want to get too into the crux of it, right? I want to say everything I talk about today, there will be links down below in the description to understand this more. This video would be like 3 hours long if I really went into it. So go to those videos if you want to learn more about any of these particular subjects, right? But in this example with HBAR, right? So if we actually had $1,000 today and bought in at 5 cents, we'd get about 20,000 HBAR. Now, hypothetically speaking, if HBAR went to $2 in the next bull market at the max, if we sold, we'd have $20,000 by 2, which is $40,000. So we would have made a 40x on our money, which is really, really good. But obviously no one can time the top perfectly. So let's just say we ended up making $30,000. So we sold at like $1.50 or something like that, okay? If we then took that $30,000 that we profited from that $1,000, right? And we bought in at 20 cents. Let's just say the next average, like you can see the average down here in this current bull market is about 5 cents with HBAR. Well, if we bought it into the average in the next bear market at 25 cents, and we sold in the 2030 bull market at about $15, which is where I think it could definitely go, we've then made $1.8 million. It's as simple as that. And I know some of you might be thinking, Kyron, well, what if we just simply held on to some of our tokens down over here? What if we, instead of selling all of our, 20,000 tokens in the 2025 bull run, what if we only sold, 18,000 and we kept 2,000? Well, in that case, I've done the maths, okay? So we would profit in that case $36,000 at the same 40x. We'd have 2,000 HBAR left over. And again, if we just rinse and repeat, if we then bought as much as we made in the bear market at the average of 25 cents, well, guys, if we then sold all of those tokens, we'd be selling 102,000 tokens at $15, which is $1.5 million in 2030. So you can see the massive difference. And the reason is essentially is because we're looking to accumulate tokens, not just simply have the most multiples from a buy-in price. Let me kind of explain to you a little bit more, right? So as a matter of fact, in the HBAR example, if we spent all $30,000 to reinvest back into HBAR in 2028, we'd acquire less tokens if the price went above $1.50. So what I'm trying to say here is you have to also look at when you're actually buying back in again, right? I know this chart's getting quite messy. I must apologize. So essentially, the only time it's less profitable for us to buy back in 2028 in the next bear market is if the price went on average to $1.50, because at that case, we'd be buying back 20,000 tokens again. Remember, it's not the buy-in price, it's how many tokens we actually buy, okay? That's what we're trying to do here. So yeah, you can see, obviously, the average price isn't going to be $1.50 HBAR in 2028. It'll be a lot lower, most likely around the 25 cent level. So it's going to be a lot more profitable for us at that point in time. And what this shows us is actually makes more sense to capitalize in the short term and reinvest when the time is right for the long term, okay? So I've been wrong many times here. I've told people, okay, if you buy in now, you should hold at least like 10% of those tokens for 2030. That's completely wrong because you will acquire more tokens if you buy in the next bear market and sell in 2025. Simple as that. So again, it's just how many tokens you have, not what price you bought them at. Price is only important because you want to be buying as many tokens as you can and do that as cheap as you possibly can. It's all about acquiring the number of tokens. So the goal should be to acquire the tokens, spending as little money as possible, right? So again, $1,000 invested as low as you can in 2023, which is right now, could become $30,000 or more in 2025, which could buy you more tokens in 2028, even if they are at higher prices than today, so that you can obviously have more tokens to sell in 2030. I hope that's made sense. I do a lot better job of breaking that down in the video down below. I will leave the link for you guys, okay? So the secret number 3, and this is one that people don't like to talk about, and that's DCA and ladder selling. Everyone talks about it, but no one does it correctly, right? So you want to do this, you tell yourself to do this, but the pros actually do it, right? So to capitalize on crypto in the safest yet most profitable way whilst having peace of mind, okay, like not falling for fear of FOMO, then you need to follow a DCA and ladder sell strategy. Yes, you heard me right. It's literally the best of both worlds. You're getting peace of mind, clarity, you're not going to be stressed out. You're actually maximizing your profits in the safest possible way. Again, the best of both worlds, all right? So I've got a pretty good example of this down here, right? The difference between, person A in example A. So example A is here, or example 1 rather, example 2, comparing the two, and then example 3 over to the side here. And you guys, if you have a look at the sheet, you can actually read about that yourself. I highly suggest you do, because ultimately, if you combined example 2 from person B and example 3 from person B, aka you just DCA and then you ladder sell, it works out to be the most profitable thing possible, and it's the safest. So to put the idea into practice, what you have to actually do, and to make this all make sense, is you have to find a price prediction for your projects, right? So you have to work out the minimum and maximums, and then what you have to do is figure out if the minimum price prediction that you're expecting from the project meets your ROI expectations. So if you want a 10x out of HBAR, and the minimum is like, oh, well, if I start buying now, it's going to be like a 9x. I want that 10x, so you might just drop your average dollar cost average buy-in price down so that you can meet that 10x at the minimum, okay? It's as simple as that. If it's not possible, you got to find a new project, or just, as I said, drop the price lower so you can meet that expectations. What you don't want to do is then say to yourself, oh, I might just move the minimum price expectations up, okay? And if you're wondering how to get the price predictions, don't worry. Again, I'll leave videos down below so you guys can look into this further. I pretty much give you all you need to know right here if you're someone who would just prefer to download the sheet and read through it. It's very easy to do. I've made a formula that will help anyone kind of find an accurate price prediction, or as accurate as possible, right? Number 3 is use the minimum and maximum levels to mark the increments in which we begin selling and how many tokens, or at least a percentage of your total holdings you should be selling. And again, ideally, you want to take out your initial investment, whatever you put in, dollar cost average, take it out at that minimum price prediction. From here, again, work backwards from the price prediction to locate an entry that complements the ROI, as we kind of did briefly before, and then support and resistance levels you can begin dollar cost averaging if it goes even lower. Use the last 12 months as an idea of where the project has been and where pretty much the price might actually fall, so you can actually set some more buy orders just to see if it will fall any lower. You definitely want to catch that if you can. And in that case, you definitely want to set buy and sell orders. Now, buy orders are definitely better as they aren't likely to change as much, but your sell orders are, because we're using price predictions to locate those sell orders. So ideally, we'll have to revisit this multiple times. Now, if you want to learn more about the price predictions, I'll leave that video down below, or again, use the sheet and go through this yourself. It definitely will help. Now, guys, if you do these 3 things, you will have $1 million crypto portfolio in the next 7 years. It's like very hard not to. If you accumulate and you really just bust your ass, then if you follow a compounding strategy, again, you don't want to hold your tokens past 2025. You want to sell as much as you possibly can and reinvest. And then you also make sure you secure the most amount of profits in 2025. You're going to be set. And that's kind of the philosophy I'm trying to tell you guys here. Follow this, get your ass in the gear, have a plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Simple as that. All right, guys, take good care. Hopefully you have learned something new. And if you have, hit the like button, subscribe for more daily content, and I will talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye.